Alright, hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to Sunless Skies. It's the sequel to Sunless Seas, and also kind of the sequel to Fallen London. I don't really know too much about this series, apart from the fact that, Mandalore really likes this series, and I had originally passed on it because it was a stupid amount of reading, and I was kind of just like, I don't really want to do this, but I've just heard nothing but good things about these games, so I'm going to take another crack at it as just kind of a quick look, and if I really, really like it, I'll be back to it, and if I don't like it that much, that's okay. Or it could, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Mainly, I just want to try this, so I'm going to do Merciful just because I'm lazy. Aiming assistance. I'm playing with a controller, I have no idea how that's going to work. Many player weapons arc gently towards targets. Making aiming easier. Moderate. Arc aggressively towards targets, making aiming easier. How absolute scum easy can I make this? The answer is apparently quite a lot. You know what? I'm going to turn this down. We'll make it gentle. I truly have never played these games, so I can't really tell. So, why don't we do thrifty, so I don't have to worry about supplies as much, and then just say, okay. Because I'm fine with the challenge to some degree. Huh. There's apparently somebody that's been playing this for like 100 episodes. That's nuts. But then again, I can imagine there's a decent chunk of content for this kind of game. I'd have to turn my light off. Log of Her Majesty's Locomotive of the Orphean. Or Locomotive the Orphean, March 14th, 1905. Our expedition to the domains of the dead have been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and in grievous need of repairs and supplies. We're returning in haste to the Reach, where I hope to make port a new Winchester. May God be with us for 1,000 deaths. Wait in the sky. Oh, for 1,000 deaths wait for us in the sky. Final entry of Captain Amelia Whitlock. Oh, sorry, it was a woman. Oh, well. She sounded like an old seasoned sea dog. I lived in a Winchester at one point in my life. That's fun. Okay, forward is that, backward is that, turn left, well, that's inverted, but that's fine. Toggle cruise control. That's not cruise control. That tutorial is actually just wrong, because clicking in left stick is toots. You've returned to the Reach, an untamed sunless span of the heavens. London's new frontier, a celestial garden run wild. I feel like I'm gonna bonk here. I wonder if I can retool these controls. Let's see. Left stick. Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, there's lateral thrusting. Okay, that might help. Okay, so it looks like it's a, this is going to be a bit tough, just because. But that's okay. Turn left, turn right. I have not played a whole lot of these games, especially with this control scheme. But that's okay. I'll make it work. Or I'll just switch back to keyboard and mouse. March 16th, 1905. Your journey back to the Blue Kingdom was tumultuous. Your locomotive is damaged, and Captain Whitlock is badly wounded. As first officer, the crew look to you. The nearest station is in New Winchester. Can you get the Orphean there safely? Or you'll just crash into the random crap that's strewn throughout this weird space. This. Much to the relief of your stokers, you find a barrel of fuel among the detritus. But not the debris. A wreck drifts here, less fortunate even than you. We should scavenge her for repairs, the crewman suggests. The Ozymandas. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocked with recent gunfire. You and the boarding party don your sky suits, garments of waxed canvas lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. Two of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business did Captain Whitlock have in the Blue Kingdom anyway? Why the devil did we trespass on the districts of the dead? You silence him. Now is not the time. Leap across to the wreck. The gap between the two engines isn't wide, but the endless fathoms of heaven gape beneath it. You jump. Your stomach lurches with vertigo as the stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unpredictable winds. Then your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandas, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold. One of your companions throws you a line. You lash the two engines together. Only then do the rest of the boarding party follow you. One of them forces open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. I wish those illustrations were bigger. Your interior is cold, unlit, and whistles with wind. Your party lamps spread buttery light over the narrow paneled passages. You make your way towards the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inward by a well-aimed barrage. Clear the obstruction away, or more precarious path. What are the requirements? Can I check? No. Which panel? No. Okay, so I don't think I have any way of checking. Well, I guess I might as well. Let's go back out onto the Ozymandas' hull, climb past the blockage, and enter through a window on the far side, and do so carefully. A memory. The rest of the boarding party follow you without enthusiasm. You recall the first time you climbed outside an engine, helping the captain fix a leak in an exterior pipe. The wind had shrieked, buffeting at you. You asked the captain what would happen if you'd slipped. You fall, she answered tersely. Where to, you asked. You looked down, then up, then back. The sky's depths spiraled all around you. Away, she said. And you heard her fear. Back in the present, you tumbled back into the Ozymandas, through a shattered window. Your party spill in after you, glad to be back inside. Wouldn't you, just go get your people? I'm not entirely sure what would happen if you fell, but, couldn't you just, bring the train down and grab them? You've reached the Ozymandas' hold, a ruin of smashed cargo and spilled supplies. Hopefully, somewhere amidst the detritus, you can find parts to repair the Orphean and restock your stores. Conduct a thorough search. Your companions work quickly. The Ozymandas' hull has begun to creak. Your actions on board may have compromised its integrity. Find enough food and gear to restock your supplies, and enough spare parts to make necessary repairs to the Orphean. The food will need to be thoroughly thawed, of course, but you've eaten worse in the skies. Oh! Cries one of your party, prying the lid off of crate. It holds a cannon, still nestled in straw. Another crewman pulls a battered birdcage within a pile of ruined cargo. Within the cage, something winged and furred opens a sullen eye. You examine your finds. So we have supplies and hull. Okay, so you can claim both this and the cannon. The Ozymandas emits a long, juddering creak. Your boarding party exchanged nervous glances. From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies and discovered some useful equipment. A gun that could be mounted on your locomotive, and an educated bat. Okay, we're getting the bat first. So liberate a diffident bat and employ it as a scout. The heavens are wide, so locomotives use scouts, like bats, to locate things of interest, ports, resources, wrecks, like this one, to scavenge. The bat treats its rescue as an inconvenience and immediately begins haggling over prey. You offer to put it back in its damn cage and leave it on the Ozymandas, at which point it becomes more polite. You somehow doubt it'll last. Okay, so we can still claim the cannon, probably. Our own weapons were damaged during your flight from the Blue Kingdom. That leaves you vulnerable. The Cotterell and Heather Sage, Jerusalem fires single shells to a good range, more or less accurately. You employ 2 of your party to get it back to your vessel and fit it immediately. The Ozymandas groans again. The structure shudders spasmodically. Okay. Well, how are we doing on fuel? I don't know. Let's keep exploring. The Ozymandias emits a long, juddering creak. Your boarding party exchange nervous glances. The chaos of the hold, you've retrieved repairs and supplies. Press on to the engine room. Why not? Okay. The wreck of the Ozymandias screeches as its metal buckles and tears. You press on through the shuddering corridors, searching frantically for the engine room. Send the rest of the boarding party back to the Orpheum. Go on alone. Failure. The engine room is gray and filled with ash and littered with corpses. Little has survived the Ozymandias' ruin. You search fruitlessly for coal, but linger too long. The wreck is racked with final violent tremors. You race back to the Orpheum. With a dying groan, the Ozymandias splits in two, flinging shards of splintered plating spinning in the sky. Several of them bite into the Orpheum, mauling its hull. Stoking your engines, you steam away from the collapsing wreck. You're restocked, at least, and rearmed. It's fine. Probably be okay. Send out your scout. Cost supplies. Reluctantly, your bat confesses to having found something. But what? Okay, summoned by Captain Whitlock. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of acrid smoke pour from her lungs. The captain opens her eyes as you draw near. She attempts to smile. Her mouth is blistered from blue fires that dance on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm. Her skin is hot as a kettle. Made arrangements. The Orpheum will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat breath. But promise. She breaks off to scream, a word in a language that was not made for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she is weaker. Requests little more than a gasp. Promise me one last service. Promise. Promise her you will obey her last command. Whatever it is, you'll see it done. She sinks back, relieved. All in my will. She gasps. Be a better. She breaks off as the sigils burned onto her bones flare, glowing cherry red through her flesh and skin. Better captain than I. The effort exhausts her. She sinks back into the scorched pillows and a twisting frantic fever. The walls of the captain's cabin are Okay, we did that. Take your leave. You leave the cabin and scorched stink of the air behind. Stink of its air behind, and return to the bridge. New Winchester is further than you'd like. The cabin hasn't long left. Oh, shoot. I forgot how to dodge. Got him. Okay. So it looks like everything is based mainly on heat. So can I get anything on that? No. Okay, focus. Scout has discovered something. To see what it is, open your chart. Compass icon in the toolbar. Okay. How do I do that? Interface selection. Hide and show? Okay. Well, there's that. Blue Kingdom Transit Relay. Scout discovered something. So I guess we got that there. I don't actually... uh-oh. Oh, here we go. I get the distinct feeling this is not meant... Shoot. Oh, well, I can get that. But yeah, I get the very distinct feeling this is not meant to be played with a controller. Like, at all. which is a bit of a shame because my couch is comfy, but I guess I'm going to have to switch back to PC recording because, oh boy, I can't actually move anymore, and that's really weird. And what is the shiny? The answer would be loot. Give me a second to move everything back. I wanted to sit comfy on my couch, and I'm like, I can drive this train with a controller, right? And the answer is no, actually. No, I cannot. Okay. So you approach the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. Raid the remains, strip it for repairs. Raid the remains. What do we get? Now 31 sovereigns. So, your boarding party returns with wallets and watches, cufflinks, lockets, and keepsakes. Store them in the safe to be pawned when, if, you make it back to port. Oh, now I can actually do things. Whatever. Let's switch this away from controller. Oops. I actually have to apply changes. There we go. Alright, let's figure out how to drive this train with keyboard and mouse. Should be easy enough. Alright, that's how I shoot. I can destroy these. It doesn't look like I have to worry about ammo, which is good. I think I would be quite cross if that was the case. Well, on the plus side... Damn it. Got him. Okay. We are overheating, though. I'm just gonna wait. That's weird. Okay. So we might want to strip this one for repairs. We'll see. Yeah, let's do that. Engineers scour the remains of the Marauder for intact parts. Even before its defeat, it was rusting and rickety. It's plating a patchwork of reclaimed steel and repurposed bronze wood. But enough can be salvaged to repair some of the damage to your own locomotive. Alright, cool. What's the... Well, I guess I can just hit that. So we want to go that way. Blue Kingdom Transit Relay, some other stuff. What button is that? Chart. Back. Ugh. The broadside seemed to have done more damage. Kind of makes sense. I'm curious what kind of different train models I can get. Oh, the taste of smog, sound of iron, and iron on iron. We are home. New Winchester. A new port, the crew are relieved to see land, perhaps unwisely. Dock. Okay. You coast into the bustle, the din and the soot of the steam of the Wolvesey station. It's clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner than you've pulled into the sidings than a brusque station master bustles over. Request to come on board. I must speak with your captain, he insists, brandishing a ledger. Usual formalities. He's just appeared at your shoulder. His face is solemn. His hat is in his hands. He lowers his eyes. Oh, the Orphean's doctor. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orphean itself feels suddenly more empty. The station master looks confused. You inform him that unfortunately Captain Whitlock has just passed. Ah! He says neutrally. Sorry to hear that. Very, very sad. Waits for what he considers an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. Last, even amidst tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. Captain Whitlock is deceased. The station authority require their answers from the first officer. He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pen. It'll be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin? Oh, now I get to change my appearance. Cool. Okay, so what was I? We have a lot of options here. Street urchin. High veils. Skill of evading and deceiving. High iron. Confronting and overcoming. High heart. Skill of convincing and enduring. Mirrors. Skill of investigating and deducing. Hearts. Convincing, enduring. Iron again. High mirrors. High veils. So what do we think? A ministry auditor. A revolutionary, a zailor, a priest, an academic, a poet, a soldier, or a street urchin. I'm feeling academic, because that's usually what I roll with, but I don't know. I don't mind input here. We could just be a Zaylor. I'm gonna go academic. You're an academic. Perhaps you're educated at one of the esteemed colleges of Benthic or Somerset. Perhaps you taught yourself through trial and error and grit. So practical sciences gives me some iron. Arts or veils. Literature. One of the most indulgent of studies, now the most seditious, the Ministry of Public Decency has gutted the libraries. Literature. Here's your veil's skill of deceiving and evading. Affiliates you with the Academy. Okay, this should be fine. So what does winning mean to you? Wealth? Fame, or the truth? Even the stars have secrets, but they won't keep them from you. A message from an old friend begins with an unwise quest to learn a secret that the stars hide. What drives you? Curiosity, justice, insolence? Whatever it is, it will be tested. Be warned, this is a demanding ambition, best played by a lineage. Already completed wealth or fame. Oh. Interesting. I forgot about this, because you're supposed to kind of start over every single time. Admittedly, I'm playing on a forgiving difficulty, so I can kind of, but let's do fame, I guess. Or maybe, I don't know. What do we think? Money or fame? Money might carry over a bit better. Money it is. Oh, okay, cool. Hair. Ugh. Maybe that. Do we want a hat? I feel like we want a hat. I feel like I like that hat. What kind of brow do we want? I feel like we want a monocle. What kind of nose do we have? Now, I personally have the smallest nose ever, but this guy is slightly different. What do we give this guy? I'm thinking big nose. Cool. What kind of chin do we give him? Ooh, I like chin 5. Chin 14 ain't bad. Chin 14 looks pretty distinguished. Let's do chin 14. Outfit. Well, this hides the distinguished beard, so we shouldn't do this. Let's see. I like outfit 11. That's a good collar. 7 is just a bit too much. Okay. Term of address, sister. Reverend, madame, sir. Citizen, captain, my lord, my lady, specialist, doctor, professor, principal, administrator, secretary, intendant, nurse, comrade, brother, sister. Okay. I like specialist. I certainly look special. A freaking hat. We go with doctor. Okay, I got it. We're gonna be Dr. Y. And we're good. Okay, you're an academic, literature, wealth, and my name is Y. Start game! Three weeks have passed. This morning, Captain Whitlock received a simple memorial service. Your body was consigned to a necropolis train bound for the Serene Mausoleum. Now you sit with a handful of her relatives in the threadbare officers' offices of her solicitors. A methodical notary is writing the will. The captain was a wealthy one, but squandered her capital on mysterious expenses before her expedition to the Blue Kingdom. The captain's relatives, from whom she was mostly estranged, are clearly wondering why you were here. Okay, advice for captains, officers, and mascots. In addition to your ordinary crew, you now have an officer, perhaps a mascot. You'll need to formally appoint them before you can benefit from their skills, abilities, or animal charisma. To do this, open the officers panel while import. Scouts. Your scout has discovered something. Okay. Cite that advice. Okay, so listen to the end. The captain's relatives, okay, are wondering why you're here. Provisioning. Before you leave New Winchester, it may be prudent to buy more supplies. You can buy them at the Victoria Market. To visit the market, select it from the menu that appears on the left, the main panel, the selection of mouse over. Okay. Follow a Dr. Y on Twitter. Ah! Okay. The final codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that the possession of the Orpheum was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry gray eyes. This includes a certain black box contained on the Orpheum's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that, at a time of your choosing, you transport that box to an address in London. He hands you an address card. Deposit it there. You are not to look inside. He gave no explanation. That's it. You're captain now. The Orpheum is yours. So, you can investigate the black box at New Winchester, or you can sell it and be done. Okay, you've been bequeathed a large black box and 100 sovereigns. Onwards! The clamoring central station of New Winchester, a place of steam and smut and thundering iron. Here you can find people willing to pay for a skilled captain's service. We can also go shopping. Stories. Wolvesey Station. Okay, so that's that. So, the bazaar. Okay. So this is where we get quests, I think. Abraham's Engineering has these things. Cramped quarters? Extra quarters. Can I take a look at stuff before we go anywhere? Okay, so we have a bat. We have a shivering jemmy. Wheezing, sputtering, ramshackle engine dating to the first days of London settlement. It gobbles fuel like a starved wolf and sulks worse than a cat kept in from the rain. It will at best suffice. Okay. So I'd like to probably fill a lot of these things out. But I am poor, right? How much money do I have? I got 131, which pretty much means I can't get a dang doodle of any of these things. Looks like there's some good stuff too. Well, we don't need a Jerusalem. We already have one of those. We could get a second. What can I sell? Okay, so they will only buy what they already have. Okay, that's weird. Inventory. Possessions. Anything that doesn't take up space in your hold, generally, because it's smaller, entirely metaphysical, appears here. Cool. Alright, let's take a look. Profile. All aspects of your captain's abilities, accomplishments, and reputation. Journal. Officers. First officer. Quartermaster. Signaler. Mascot. Okay. Use this tab will import to appoint them. Or at any time, talk to and otherwise interact with them. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do any of that. Officers, we know about the chart. So that's not super useful. Okay, so let's go back to Victoria Market, fuel and supplies, and the engine yard. So we could straight up upgrade for a completely different... Whoa, look at the Moloch class liner. That looks fun. And comfy as hell. Alright, let's close the engine yard. We don't need that. But that's... undock and explore. Okay. Back here. So explore the city. The soggy, clanking, singing, and stamping, thronging, frantic heart of the Reach. Learn about trading. Visit the Promise of Days. Inquire about the Winchester War. Okay. Let's go with learn about trading. I'm going to skip some dialogue here just because there's going to be so much to read. Also, fuel first. That's a good point. Order of the station advises you to visit a nearby pub, the Promise of Days, and talk to the seasoned captains there. Keep their ears to the ground. They'll know about an opportunity or two. Alright. Promise of Days. Always happy to offer words of advice. Sometimes many words. Four are gathered at their usual table. The masked citizen, a libertine, polymath and pioneer of the neo-nocturnal artistic school. The bedeviled didact, a scholar haunted by his discoveries. The plucky baroness, explorer-collector, philatelist, and spatchcocker Meg, who hunts monsters. Of course, everything out here is jolly dangerous, says the baroness. Few risk the skies, so news of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports from the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. The more you turn in at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities on the way, advised the masked citizen. Passengers who want transport, rich men in need of bloody work, etc. Old pistons gleam on the walls. The shelves are crowded with mementos from across the sky. Clientele raise their voices to be heard above the comforting clamor of the adjacent yards. Ask them how to make a fortune through trade. Between them, they've carried Navarrete gemstones from Eleutheria, souls to the Blue Kingdom, and raw hours to London. Have they any tips? Ah, the didact says, fiddling with his innumerable talismans. An essential topic. Meg slides you a stool, and the captains shuffle around to make room. Masked citizen buys you a drink of their own invention. It is violet and foggy. The plucky baroness gives you a brisk, encouraging grin. Ask away. Ask about markets. Buy and sell goods. You can sell practically anything at a big trade hub like New Winchester. There, the baroness answers. If you want to buy, though, you need to travel to more distant ports. Each specializes in a particular export. Meg chewing tobacco, or spits chewing tobacco onto the floor. No money in buying at market prices and selling at them too, though. Look for bargains or prospects of people offering better money. Buy, sell, buy cheap, sell dear. You can sell, not buy, at any trade good at a major port. Lesser ports each sell a single good. You can see what a port exports by clicking on it on the map. Oh, that's handy. Okay, so we already did that. Prospects. Masked citizen sips their drink. The biggest port in each region has a bazaar where the captains do business. There you'll learn of people and other ports prepared to pay over the odds for a commodity. When you accept the commission for a prospect, it's yours. No other captain will pursue it. It's all fantastically civilized. The smile is droll. You'll have to source the goods for yourself, of course, says the bedeviled didact. Find a port that exports them. The client will want a certain amount. You can supply some or all of it. But if you provide all they need, they may furnish you with an additional reward. Okay. Accept prospects in the bazaars of major ports. You can accept up to 4 at once. You may review and abandon them in the locomotive screen. Let's see. Ask if they know of a good prospect available. In fact, I do, says a masked citizen, tapping an elegant finger on their elegant glass. The host at Magdalene's needs an urgent delivery of seeds, paying a pretty penny, too. If I were you, I'd get to the bazaar straight away, put my mark against it. Meg grunts. Broker in Port Avon selling cheap seeds. Chirpy chap. God knows why. Face looks like it's been pushed through a mangle. Opportunity. Port Avon lies to the north of New Winchester, and Magdalene's lies to the west of New Winchester. Except this. Okay, cool. That's a good start. And also, what about bargains? Spatchcocker. Meg wipes beer foam from her lip. Nowhere this busy. Deals are snapped up too fast here. Visit bazaars at quieter towns. Find all sorts. Limited supply, mind. Bargain won't hang about forever, though, the Baroness confides, steadfastly ignoring Meg's manners. But don't hang about. If you use space in your hold, snap them up. You can always sell them at a major port for an adequate return. Okay. And ask how to expand all of these. We're just in tutorial mode, I guess, but that's fine. How to expand the prospects and bargains available to you. To put it delicately, is there a way that a resourceful captain would prejudice circumstances in their favor? Meg laughs. A noise like a sneeze crossed with a ricochet. It ain't who you is. It's who you know, ain't it? Nepotism. He taps her broken nose. Quite, the masked citizen remarks. The wider your circles, the more advantageous the opportunities that will present themselves. Wise Captain makes the most of them. As your captain increases in level, your affiliations will increase. Academy, Bohemia, Establishment, and Villainy. Well, they'll unlock new, more rewarding bargains and prospects. Okay. Oh. And they allow your next captain to inherit certain resources should the unthinkable happen. Cool. Let's get going then. So we gotta go to the market? Okay. Hold up. Was it journal? Trading opportunity. Okay, go to the bazaar. Seeds for Magdalene. What's this one? Also seeds. 3 sacks and 5 sacks of verdant seeds. We might as well grab both. Because if I'm gonna be doing seed related stuff, I might as well max out on it. Okay, so back to the station. Explore the city. How goes the war? This is a lot. This is a lot of lore. I like this game, but this almost feels like the kind of thing that would be difficult for me to keep up with. We're already 36 minutes in, and I'm still in the tutorial. Okay, who currently controls the Reach? I'm just going to leave these here. If people want to actually, like, read them themselves, they can. But in a lot of cases, I'm just going to quick zip past it myself. Let's see. We are no one. Okay, let's go back to Wolvesey Station. Recruit the incautious driver. Specialize in test driving, but I'm looking for something quieter. Yeah, what harm can it do? So, get you a chief engineer who will increase your iron by 6, hearts by 2, and affiliation establishment by 1. Sign-on fee. Sure. So, costs money, but it's fine. Okay, so next up, shops... Engineering? No. Market. Fuel. I guess I'm just gonna buy that. I was hoping for more fuel than that, but oh well. Getting immersed in the lore of Fallen London games is kind of the point. I think my main problem is just like, Shall we be mad, you lore skipper, you. I think the problem is just there's so much. And I don't necessarily mind it, but this is the sort of thing that does either really, really stupidly well on as far as a series, or everybody like loses interest really fast. And that's a hard gamble for me. I'm going to get immersed while we're here, but if it doesn't seem immediately relevant, I'm going to skip over it and just go on. The fuel does take up cargo space. Oh, you're right. Fastidious inspector. Excuse me, Captain. A woman pushes through the crowds towards you. She's short and square-shouldered, in a neat black suit and polished toes. See, this is what I'll read. She shows you a case of her pocket watch. It's embossed with a crown and hourglass of London's horological office. The body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the Empire. Hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Hey, sounds promising. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. The gentleman fonder of brandy than diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Prospect lies to the northwest of New Winchester. Not that there is such a thing as north, south, east, or indeed west out here. Said London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter, more reliable stars visible from the Empress's new palace and named them north, east, south, and west. Londoners value familiarity. Okay, so we get 50 sovereigns, and she's joined our crew for the time being. Okay, investigate the black box. Captain Whitlock left it to you in the hold of the Orphean. Okay. Let's see. Yep, so Captain Whitlock left it to you in the hold of the Orphean. Will described it only as a black box, a description you consider to be an unhelpful understatement. It's a casket of black basalt, longer than you are tall, unadorned, with a single small recess that contains a hole. Contains a keyhole. The thing must weigh most of a ton. It stands upright in a corner of the hold, where the crew have pushed it out of the way. Consider what to do with it. Last request of Captain Amelia Whitlock was for the box to be transported to a specific address in London. Alternatively, you could find someone willing to purchase it as a curiosity. And if you knew what was inside, you might be able to command a higher price. Where did she get it? Captain Whitlock had brought it on board before your ill-fated expedition to the Blue Kingdom. It was empty then. You know because you saw the lid and the box carried on board separately and assembled in the hold. Not empty now. It is sealed, even heavier than before. But you left for the Blue Kingdom shortly after the box was delivered, and made no stops along the way. So whatever's inside the box now, Captain Whitlock found it in the Blue Kingdom. Examine the box. It has the dimensions of a sarcophagus plundered from the tomb of some forgotten prince of Egypt. There are no carvings or inscriptions on it. The joint where the lid meets the body is too thin to admit even a knife blade. There are no holes by which light or air might find their way in. It's impossible to see inside without opening it. Even the keyhole has been engineered in such a way to prevent peeking. The recess with the keyhole, though, as far as you can determine, that is a more recent addition to the box. The stone has been drilled and chiseled away to create a space for a modern metal lock. Okay, consult with an academic, find someone who could open it, pick the lock yourself. Need Savage Secret. And, yeah, do not have nearly enough. Detonate it with a modest explosive, Jesus. Yeah, let's not do any of these things. Okay, what else do we have? Hire on crew. Ambition, wealth. Not enough to be rich, one must be seen as truly, lavishly, importantly wealthy. Purchase the governor's manor. I need a lot of money. Yeah, no, let's leave that for later. Okay, so let's close out of that. I don't know if there's anything left. I don't have a whole lot of space. So let's undock and let's just get going. Okay, it's tab. Alright, so we have the reach. This is a big old section. I kinda wish I could zoom out a little bit, as long as I'm not in combat, just so I can kind of see more. I guess I am pretty zoomed out as it stands. It just feels very... Whoops. There's also... Wait, what's Victory Hall? Is Victory Hall something separate? Let's go peek a head in. I can't drive this thing for shit. I'll get used to it. The Assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers, colloquially called the Tacites. Gather and argue here. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the tickety's favor. Okay, so this is where we drop off stories. I should probably mention, while we're here, because I think this... Hearing, like, gun noises. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm probably going to do a second episode while we're here, just because, like, I kind of want to get a little bit further into this game before I can really, like... I'm not going to say pass judgment. I already pretty much know what this game is going to be. It's going to be slow. It's going to be methodical. There's going to be a lot of travel. The combat seems fun, but niche. And the writing is pretty top tier, from what I can tell. I've heard that the first region you go to is kind of lower quality. That, like, they definitely improved as you go to, like, the later regions, and those get even more intense. So I might try and, like, speed ahead to some of those if I keep going with this. But one way or another, I guess this episode will probably still go out. I might even shovel this sooner up the list, considering I think it's $12 on the Steam Christmas sale, and that's actually a pretty damn good price, especially for how long and interesting this game is. Like, the Sunless series is nuts in a really, really good way, but also very, very niche. So if you haven't heard of it until now, and this is piquing your interest, might be worth a look, and it's definitely worth a pickup. And if not, that's okay too. Maybe you can just sit back and enjoy for a while. Or not. I don't know. Yeah, $12.50 on Steam at the moment. That is a good price. But then again, most things on the Steam's Christmas sale are always pretty good. So, for those of you on YouTube, for now, I'll see you guys next time. And as always, thanks for watching.